I know some amazing vocalists, but they won't turn up to rehearsal on time, or they won't go out there and network. And networking is a huge part of the industry nowadays. It's about who you know.
It's all new with Season 2, Motivational Monday, the show that guarantees you the motivation you need to thrive throughout the week.
Wake up! It's a beautiful morning and time to ignite the greatness within you. This is the Motivational Monday podcast, and here's your host, Abigail Autry.
The greatest form of publicity is word of mouth. It isn't just about befriending the movers and the shakers, the decision makers, but showing respect to the receptionist at the door, to that person who may be sweeping the floor in the audition room.
But I remember at first being really shot down by it. And I remember feeling like, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make it.
Welcome to this week's Motivational Monday, the show that guarantees you the motivation you need to thrive throughout the week. This week's episode is dedicated to motivating young people. And our featured guest on today is a young lady who's trailblazing the UK by storm. With her electrifying vocals and funky sounds, she's Elllen Georgiou, a songwriter, producer who goes by the artist name Brunette. And the track you're hearing is hers, Get a Little. Hey girl, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Welcome, Elllen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm really good. I'm super excited.
Let's jump to it, Elllen. Multi-talented, extremely creative, but if you needed to peel it right off like an onion, what would you consider to be your zone of genius?
My zone of genius has to be songwriting. I mean, I've been singing and songwriting from a young age anyway, so it's been about 9 years, and I've taken it seriously, like my career. But with my vocals, I'm constantly working at it. I feel like I've got such a big range and I could do so much with my voice, and I've mastered different skills throughout my years, which I'm still working towards. But it's, I've realized that not every performance is going to be perfect. And, it takes a lot of practice on my vocals in order to get that perfect, completion, completed, and so I feel like with songwriting, it's just the flow.
Beautiful.
It's just whatever you hear is just you create, and there's no right or wrong answer. Kind of like, it's an art. So if there's a line on a canvas, some people perceive that as art.
Yes.
So
I love that. How over the years have you been able to harness and develop the skill of songwriting?
Okay. Just practice. Practice always makes perfect. I mean, I've made so many mistakes as well. And, it just takes a lot of hours to perfect your craft. There's so many different ways of songwriting. It's crazy. I've been to so many different projects and been on so many different projects, and been to uni where you learn to pick phrases and titles out of newspapers and write a song from that. And that's how David Bowie actually used to write his tracks, and used to come out with obscure lyrics, his writing. And again, there's just so many different ways, and you just experiment. There's no set way of doing it, or no set way of writing. That's what I love about songwriting. You just have the complete freedom to write whatever you want.
And what's one wrong assumption do you feel that people make about the arts, whether it be singing, songwriting, anything creative? What's one assumption a lot of people tend to make, wrong assumption?
People rely heavily on their talent to get them by. People rely on, whether it be songwriting, whether it be singing. I know some amazing vocalists, but they won't turn up to rehearsal on time, or they won't go out there and network. And networking is a huge part of the industry nowadays. Yes. It's about who you know.
Yes.
And that's what gets you through doors, as well as being good at your craft, But there's the industry has evolved so much. You don't need to have an amazing talent in order to make it in the industry that you want to make it in.
Dear listener, it doesn't matter how talented you are, how great you look or sound. What's going to give you leverage in your industry is your ability to connect well with people wherever you are. You see, the greatest form of publicity is word of mouth. It isn't just about befriending the movers and the shakers, the decision makers, but showing respect to the receptionist at the door, to that person who may be sweeping the floor in the audition room. You just don't know how your breakthrough is going to come to you. So be more interested in people. Learn to smile wherever you go and have a positive can-do attitude. And remember, learn to say yes more than you say no.
You know, it's about getting on with people. It's about having a little bit of talent and, you know, and just knowing different people. And, you know, it is about working hard. It's not always about what you have, and you shouldn't just expect that. And a lot of people do.
So you're firing on all cylinders, and you're taking me back into time when I was producing a live music show. Absolutely loved it. But what was one of the interesting experiences was the amount of artists I can count with both hands. The amount of artists, musicians that would show up late with a real sloppy approach to how they worked. It taught me very early on in my career the importance of respecting people's time and respecting every door of opportunity. Some would come in with an entourage, laying out all the, you know, requirements that they want, and they hadn't really brought anything to the table as yet. So it's really, really critical to understand and remember, especially now, social media has become our new business card. It's always been word of mouth, but even more so now, that we must respect every door, whether it be big or small. Every door we must bring our A game. We must give our absolute best to what we do and have the right attitude to that opportunity. Because, as you mentioned, the industries across all spheres are very small. And so most of your work, most of your doors of favor and opportunity are going to come by somebody putting in a good word for you because of how you've handled an opportunity before.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you shouldn't upset anyone in the industry. You should be nice to everyone. That's just how I was brought up.
Yes.
You know, but especially in the industry, it's such a small industry. It's a tiny world, and everyone knows everyone nowadays. And, you know, like that's really upsetting to hear as well, because for the people, some people just go all out and are working non-stop and grinding non-stop, and they still don't see, like, you know, the fruits. But a lot of people just take what they have for granted. And I always think, well, if I was to lose that, then what have I got? You know, but I've still got a nice personality. I'm still talking to people normally. I don't act like I'm above people, you know.
Yes.
I try and protect that, and I try and stay grounded, you know.
That's fantastic. Now, I understand that recently you were given a really golden opportunity to pitch one of your songs to Little Mix. Tell us more about it. I do my homework.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Okay, so when I was 17, I'd done a lot of stuff at the Roundhouse. When I was 16, I was doing so many projects. I literally spent all of my weekends and half terms at the Roundhouse, 9 to 5.
Let me interrupt you.
What I love.
Ellen, let me quickly interrupt you. We have a global, I call them our global village. So we have global listeners all around the world. Not everyone will know what is the Roundhouse. Explain where that is.
Okay, so the Roundhouse is a massive venue in Camden, and they do loads of they arrange loads of events and loads of performances, but they also help a lot of young artists, and it's not just artists, it's musicians, it's DJs. They even do circus work. They do radio projects as well. So they're really giving a chance for, I think it's 11 to 25-year-olds, and it's super cheap, and you get amazing mentors and everything. I'm still in touch with a lot of my mentors that I've worked with, and it's just an incredible opportunity for anyone that just wants to try something new. And it's affordable as well, you know, and it's so beneficial for anyone that wants to delve into the arts. That's essentially, it's like a hub for arts and creatives. And they're constantly, if you check out their website, roundhouse.co.uk, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% on that, but they just have tons of information and things that you could apply for. And so I went there at 16 off the back of a competition. So one thing always leads on to another. That's what I've always found. So I've done so many different projects there when I was, it was during my GCSEs. I probably shouldn't have done that. But yeah, and then I got this opportunity. It was a project called 30/30 where 30 artists were chosen to work with 30 producers. It ended up being something like 15-15 in the end. But yeah, so you were supposed to bring in your song and they would, you know, perfect it and they would help you with that. Whereas I got chosen by Guy Chambers, and Guy Chambers is, for those of you who don't know, I didn't know at the time, obviously little 17-year-old me, I had no clue who Guy Chambers was, but he had done a lot of stuff for Robbie Williams, and he continues to write for amazing artists like chart hitting. He's written loads of chart hits for chart topping artists, and he's a musician. He's an all-rounder, really. He's a producer and everything. And he wanted to write a whole new track with me. So I was super excited. I made sure I was super prepared. I'm always super prepared anyway for whatever session I go into. And so we started writing, and he was super impressed with my work ethic. And, you know, that's my reputation as well. He also, he was really impressed with the song. We got it done in something like 4 hours or something, from not knowing each other to, you know, creating the backing track and the vocals and the lyrics and the melody and the lyrics we call the top line. So he called me back. He pitched the song to Little Mix. He dropped that in a casual conversation. He was like, "Oh, how are you? Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm pitching this to Little Mix." I was like, "Okay, yeah. Wait, what? And they would have, the frustrating thing is that they would have taken it, but they were moving on to their next album. So, so he called me back to write for Syco, which is Simon Cowell's label. And he also, the following year, asked me to lyric a track for Kylie. So he's always throwing me in the deep end. But so that was an amazing. So many different doors as well, which is, and I'm so grateful.
And I love what you just said, and I need to just basically revisit that and circle back to everything links. And so, dear listener, if you're finding yourself looking at opportunities in silos, understand this. Sometimes it's that one thing that you think doesn't have anything to do with the breakthrough you need that could become the catalyst. So everything is connected, and it's only in retrospect you realize that led on to this, that led on to that. And it could even just be a confidence boost, that having done one thing really well harnesses your confidence to go on to the next thing. So every opportunity you get presented, learn to say yes. And in the words of Richard Branson, say yes first and then go and find out how to do it. Don't say no because...
That's one of my...
is it one of your favorite quotes?
That's one of my favorite quotes.
Absolutely. Learn to say yes and then go and learn or figure out how to get it done.
You can
love this track. And if you've just joined us, our featured guest on today's show is the young lady on the vocals by the name of Brunette. And the track you just heard is called Tame. I want us to change the tempo somewhat and go back into time when you hit a real low valley moment. You fell deep down in the dirt and was unsure if you'd have the wings to fly high again. Walk us through that time. Tell us your story.
Okay, there has been a few times. I think the first time I experienced that, I was around 14. Okay, I'll give you this one then. So I was around 13, 14 years old, and I applied for Brit School. And Brit School is the performing arts school, and everyone is known to have made it. You know, Jessie J went there, and all of the big artists have gone there. Like, so many people make it. It's specialized for music and the arts, kind of like the Roundhouse, but it's a school. Mm-hmm. And I applied for this, and oh my gosh, the interview was so nerve-wracking and so horrible. At the age of 13 and 14, you don't expect any interview to be like this. Yeah. But they were so straight-faced. No one spoke to each other. Everyone was like, judging each other and, pitching themselves, weighing you up and everything. And it was the most uncomfortablest feeling ever. And so we had to perform 2 songs. We had to do a theory lesson as such. We had to also learn a track beforehand that we had to have analysed, and we got asked loads of different questions. So we had an exam as well, and then an interview after. And oh my gosh, it was the worst experience. I just remember thinking I just absolutely hated that interview, and I hated that audition. And I didn't get in the first time, so I appealed. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get in the second time either. And then you can apply again in a few years' time. But I remember at first being really shot down by it. And I remember feeling like, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make it. Yeah. And I just remember, because everyone, that's just the expectations. If you get one no, then you just think, well, am I good enough? And you start questioning things. And this had come off the back of me already writing in a studio and having vocal lessons and all of this sorts, and already going to seminars. So I already had a good understanding of the industry, not as much as I do now, but I already had a good understanding. And I was like, well, why am I not good enough? And it just really shot down my confidence. And then I applied again for I think the following year or the following 2 years, twice, and I didn't get in again. And I was so shot down by it, and I was thinking, why do I have to go through this again? Why am I putting myself through this? But sometimes you got to put yourself through those things, because you learn from it. It makes you totally makes you a stronger person. Absolutely. And if I realized that if I had gone to Brit School, I wouldn't have got the chance to, I wouldn't have done anything at the Roundhouse, because I would have been busy, or I would have been tired from all the commuting, and I wouldn't have worked with Guy Chambers, and I wouldn't have done all of the stuff that I've done now, because everything led on from those points.
Ooh, you've summed it up beautifully. But just to dig a little bit deeper, what would you want our audience, our listeners, to get from your experience and having gone through that? What would you want to say to somebody? Experience? Yeah, what would you want to say to somebody listening?
Okay, so you're going to have times where you feel like giving up. You're going to have times where you think, am I good enough? At the end of the day, you've got to believe so strongly in yourself and not care about what other people think. There's been times where I've been in the studio and I've thought, oh my God, I'm going to sound terrible. But then I'm thinking, what's on the other side of fear? What is on the other side of fear is success. And, so much is waiting for you on the other side. And we always just have that barrier, and don't let that barrier get in the way.
Beautiful, beautiful. Overcome fear with faith, ladies and gentlemen. And here's something that you may not have heard before. Rejection is often God's form of protection. And when you learn not to take the rejection so personally, life has a way of recalibrating your steps. And just as Ellен mentioned, had she gone for the first option, it may not have led her to do some of the most amazing things that came later on. So don't take the rejection personally, but use it to recalibrate and redirect your steps. There's another door, there's another path that perhaps you now need to follow. What one lesson, Ellен, took you the longest to learn?
Oh gosh, I'm still learning all of my lessons. Oh gosh. What lesson took me the longest to learn? Okay, to just go for opportunities, really. I mean, I was playing by the books for so long, and I was like, well, that's not right. And that's, at the end of the day, the industry is just like a smash and grab. You know, so if you're in, I've been in many situations where it's like, who wants to solo? And I was like, oh, well, I want the solo, and you just have to just go for it, you know. And I've learned the hard way, and you know, at times I've been kicking myself, and I was like, why did I let someone treat me like that, or why did I, you know? But then it prepares you for the next time that opportunity arises.
Excellent.
100%. And I do believe everything happens for a reason.
Oh yeah. And before we take our break, what are you excited about at the moment?
The future.
Yeah.
The future, 100%. Like, there's so much going on, and there's so much planned. And there's just always new opportunities arising. So I've got a performance coming up on my birthday, actually. And I'm super excited about that. It also gets me out doing something for my birthday. And next year I was asked to perform in New York. So going to do a bit of touring around New York. I've never been as well. So this should be super exciting. And just loads of different collaborations that I'm working on. You know, there's always my own project, but different collaborations and different projects as well. And you never know where it could propel you.
Yeah, that's it. You never know where it can propel you. More from Motivational Monday after this.
Oh, I love it when you take the lead. Don't be shy, come do your thing. Oh, I love it when the sun goes down. Love it when the sun goes. Come and lay it all on me. I could give you what you need. Oh, I love it when the sun goes down. Love it when the sun goes. Way you go. I'm feeling like a overdose. The mountain to the floor. Is there something you need to get off of your chest? Oh, feel that you had it, something from me. You lie. I know you like it, when I let you take.
Okay, Elllen, so we're back on the second half of today's show, and I want to explore your mindset mastery. What words, what mantras are you telling yourself during tough times to keep going?
You need to have a strong vision, you know, and you need to have a strong why that will always get you through the tough times. That rhymes. I didn't even realize. I just rhymed, exactly. I'm constantly doing this recently. It's so bad. Yeah, but you need to have a strong vision. You need to see beyond the tough times. You're going to have your times where you're feeling low, and you're going to have the times where you feel like, oh, why isn't anything working for me? You know, and it tends to happen in threes as well. But that, like, I 100% believe in God as well, and I believe that He's steering me, or she is steering me in the right way, you know. And it's just a test.
Yes.
And I will pass this test. That's what I say to myself, and I'm doing a lot of that's later.
Okay, morning mastery. How do you get yourself motivated first thing in the mornings?
Yeah, that's what I was going to move on to. So I started this new routine. I started this new routine in October, and it was because recently things haven't been great at home, and I've recently got a lot of bad news, and so it's kind of brought my energy down a little bit, and my energy is super, super high. I'm usually super positive. So I started this grateful chart. You can look online and it will be there, and it just shows you little different things. It just asks you what things you're grateful for, like textures and talent and different things, really. So it's good to practice gratitude. And I've also been doing a lot of personal development. So I wake up and I listen to some personal development videos, whether it be Jim Rohn, whether it be Les Brown or other ones. So I knew all of the quotes where you were getting them from as well. So I was like, yes. So and I've just really been protecting my mindset, and I also learned that in the first 20 minutes of waking up, you are most impressionable. So if you are exposing yourself to negativity and bad news and everything, that's why you shouldn't listen to the news in the morning, because it's always depressing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But you should always protect, and I've just realized you need to protect your mindset, and there's so much depression going on, and that just it's ourselves, you know. We torture ourselves with constant thoughts of, am I good enough, or what does this person think of me, or, you know, and we need to take a leaf out of those who are happy in life and who are successful in life, and and
learn, because in the words of Jim Rohn, success leaves clues. It really does. And ladies and gentlemen, just remember that when you win the morning, you've won the day. So always aspire to have some kind of morning routine or ritual, some things that you can do that will get your energy levels and endorphins going. And get your mind set and focused. Start with intention. Intention is the most powerful way to enter into a new waking day. What are my intentions for today? Moving on to personal growth. And I love the journey you're on, and continue to do so, because it will be your rod and staff as you grow and as you develop as an artist, as a person. It's the real bedrock to you and who you are, because personal growth, it infuses every aspect of your life. As a coach, it's one of the things that I really champion highly, that everybody needs to invest in themselves mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. So what one book, Ellен, just one book now, what one book has been most meaningful to you, most impactful to you along your journey thus far?
Oh, I have a confession.
You don't read books.
I'm not a big fan of books. I'm just not a big fan of books. I will read the first line and I'll think, oh, that makes a good lyric, and I'll start writing it.
Don't worry. What one quote?
Oh, that's so difficult.
I know.
Oh, gosh. I have tons of quotes. I've always gone by everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Because even in the lowest points, you just feel like there's a reason for this. You know, it's you know, I might not know now, I might not know in a week's time, a day's time, a week's time, a month's time, but there is a reason why I'm going down this road. I feel like everyone you meet is either a lesson or a blessing.
Ooh.
You know, see, I've got quotes for days.
I love them. I love that. You need to tweet that, right? That's tweetable right there. You need to tweet that. And slowly and sadly, we are coming to a close here, but I want you to finish with managing health and wellness. How do you stay specifically healthy and happy?
Health and wellness. Definitely personal development, 100%. In the morning, it puts me in a good mood. It makes me feel like I can accomplish anything, you know. Real, to act like a boss, you know. I have this, so about a year ago, I started to look after my health. A year and a half ago, actually, I started to really look after my health. I went to these boot camps, and then I started to really focus on my health, because I know that I have to do this in order to progress with my music, and I can't be eating junk. I need to, you know, put across a certain image, and, you know, I need to be healthy in order to do what I'm doing. Otherwise it's not going to last.
Yes.
You know, longevity is key. So I wake up every day. I have my shake, my morning shake. So it's got all the nutrients and vitamins and that I need and everything. And so I lost a bit of weight. I've toned up. I've improved my my fitness in myself, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah.
Lovely. And as we bring this to a super duper close, it's been a fabulous conversation. Really enjoyed connecting with you. What final words of inspiration or words of action you would like to leave our listeners with? And also, how can they find you, connect with you, hear your music online?
Okay, so my message is, don't give up. Oh, sorry, I just punched at the same time. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't let what other people think cloud your judgment and cloud your talent. And there's been so many times when, you know, I realize that people try and bring me down because of either their shortcomings or their insecurity, you know, and you just need to have a strong belief in where you're going and who you are as a person and your talents as well. Just protect your mindset 100%. And I recommend PD. You know, a lot of my friends, personal development, sorry. A lot of my friends were saying this to me for a long time. And I was like, no, I don't need it. But I believe that everyone needs it. And you can find me, you can connect with me on all my social media channels. I recommend Instagram. That's the one I use mainly. So you can find me at Brunette Music UK. I'm mainly on Instagram and just go on Instagram. I'm not great with using Twitter and
no worries.
Yeah. But if you have any questions, if you just want to connect, you know, just let me know. And yeah, I'm always up for chatting with people, and I love meeting new people, seeing new things. That's just how I've always been.
Superb. I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. But if you go over to abigailotri.com/podcast, you'll be able to check out today's show notes. Everything Ellen's mentioned will be on our show notes page, so you can click and connect. And do drop her a line, as well as ourselves. Let us know what were your top takeaways from this episode. Ellen, keep the fire burning, girl. I can only imagine you in the next 10 years trailblazing the globe with your music, your passion, your mission. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working for you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
I'll catch you all same time, same place next week for a fresh dose of motivation. God bless. It's all new with Season 2, Motivational Monday, the show that guarantees you the motivation you need to thrive throughout the week.
Thanks for listening to the Motivational Monday podcast with career and confidence coach Abigail Autry. If you need a motivational boost in your life, visit abigailotry.com.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Motivational Monday. If this content is adding value to your life, our one big ask is that you go to iTunes, Stitcher to rate and review. Not only does it help us build our global community, in which we are committed in doing, but it also helps us get on even more amazing guests to share their knowledge with us all. Thank you guys for being a part of this uplifting community. And until next week, remember, you have greatness within you.